This is an update video on the Stephenson brothers who were wrongfully accused of double murder solely because two bodies were found on their 125-acre property in Ecuador. This is just a brief update. Follow along.
You're watching dcbornrob, erasing borders. And now, news.
Okay, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is you're located. Thanks for watching. My name is Rob Christian, also known as dcbornrob, DC Rob, or you can just call me Rob. I wanted to do this video because, and this is going to be a short one, but I wanted to do this quick video update because if you're not aware of the brother's case, I want you to be aware of it, number one. And if you are aware of the Stephenson brothers case that has been going on for 6 years now and that I've been covering for the past year and a half, I want to give you just a brief update on what's going on. So just briefly, two brothers moved from Maryland, DC and Maryland, my hometown, moved to Ecuador to start an ecotourism business, and successful for years, well entrenched in the neighborhood. And all the locals knew them. All the indigenous knew them. The indigenous were on their property, were friends with them. They would always come. I mean, think about it. They had 125 acres. So somebody's always on your property at some point. And they shouldn't have either. They've cut down things. Don't let me get sidetracked. But in short, they were accused of murder because two bodies were found on their property in a shallow grave. The indigenous people who claimed it was them showed up on their property. Well, first they told the police that they had drugs and guns and they were like these masterminds, and that they needed to come take care of that. So when the police showed up on the property, they started questioning them. And at that point, and this is like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm told that the indigenous people who were accusing them of this were there at approximately 3 a.m. in the morning. So again, I don't know where you are at 3 a.m., but that's in the a.m. It's dark. It's in the morning, and we're talking the jungle, okay? The serious jungle, okay? 125 acres of jungle, but they found their way to the property. They showed up with shovels and dug two bodies up. That's what piqued my interest too from the beginning. Wait a minute. How did they know on 125 acres? Hell, on an acre, how do you know what to dig? But so in short, they've been going through the process. They've been in these violent uprisings that you've seen, the gang violence that has been going on in Ecuador for the past years, especially a year ago. Oh my God, they killed 30 people in front of them. I mean, I've seen the video of this. I wish I hadn't seen it. I can't unsee it. Just like right now, I can flash back to what I want to say, but I'm not going to say what it is because it's just morbid. But anyway, I wanted to bring to your attention that their revision has been granted. We knew it was going to come. And this is my understanding. It's almost like an appeal. You get a chance to put out more information and show what the government did not put forward when it came to convicting them. There were lies. There's so many inconsistencies in the other side. These brothers should not be in jail. And our representatives, I mean, anybody who's watched me for any given period of time, I won't even bring them up anymore because they're useless. Okay. Our U.S. representatives are useless. I'm sorry. It's been one of those weeks and I'm just overwhelmed. But I'm coming on today briefly just to ask for your prayers and good vibes because it has been granted. The way it works is you have 2 weeks. Well, they say the government has 2 weeks to answer the questions and put forth any other information that they wanted. And then they'll get the call that they need to be ready and show up in court. And this is going to decide their fate, if they will go free or they don't. I said this 2.5 years ago. If I play just a small piece in them getting out of prison, my life's been worthwhile. So I have a lot on this. This is wrong. Anyway, this is going to happen soon. We're talking within days because I got this alert. Well, I knew it was accepted 2 months ago. Then about 2 weeks ago, it was, I don't know what that step was called, granted, finalized, whatever, where they need to put forth the information that the paperwork has been done, that they need to do this. So it's going to happen pretty soon. So I'm waiting at any day for some sort of news. I reached out to the brother's dad day before yesterday, and he gave me a short update. But in short, I believe in a higher power. I don't believe in God from the Bible and all, I just don't. Okay. There goes half of you. Anyway, I just don't. I believe in a higher power. I don't know what it is. I'm smart enough to say I don't know. Okay. But I know there's a higher power, and I believe in prayer. So I'm asking for my viewers, you and anybody who's watched this story. And if you haven't watched this story, I'm going to play the Revolt TV interview after this short video so that you get an understanding, because that one, they hit it from beforehand and then we talk afterwards. But it'll give you a good idea as to what's been going on. And I have maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I don't know how many different videos. My researcher has, a blessing for these brothers too, all the information. We had daily contact with them while they were in prison, and I knew it wouldn't last. I just didn't know it would disintegrate the way it did. The one gets sent to another one. The one ends up finding out he has cancer. Now he has to fight cancer. The other one's moved to another prison because they shouldn't have been in that, they shouldn't have been in that violent prison in the beginning. They were pretty much kidnapped at 2 a.m. and taken to the other prison, the one that has all the gang violence in it. These prisons are run by the gangs, by the way. There's no guards. Guards show up and they give them the keys. Simple as that. So anyway, I'm going to ramble. So before I start rambling too much, I'm just going to ask for your prayers and your good vibes. It's needed. Okay, check out this video. This was from Revolt TV. Again, I don't have any more information than what I've just put up right now. I mean, I know some things, but as far as this case and this time frame, this is all I know. And I know it's going to happen pretty quickly. And I know it's a matter of days now. And their lives are on the line. And I'm from DC. So I know a lot of people that get caught up the wrong way. So I feel a certain way about this. Okay. First of all, they're from DC, and they reached out to me when they saw what I did with the Timothy Reed case and how I tried to help. But between the congressmen, the senators, it's been newspaper, radio, articles, some TV. I mean, no Brittany Griner attention. But his representatives are aware. And if they're not involved in this, and if the embassy is not at this hearing to monitor this, then I've lost all faith in this country. So anyway, prayers and good vibes is what we need. Watch this short video here. Remember to travel, but travel safe. Okay, one last thing before I jump out of here. I want to also ask for your assistance in offering prayers and good vibes to a good friend of mine, Sean. Sean just got back from Colombia, a week ago from Medellin. I met him back in December with a couple other buddies. Again, I have more good friends than I do good friends here in the States. But few good friends I have here are solid, for real. So appreciate your friends. I appreciate Sean and his friendship. I need prayers and good vibes sent his way. He has fallen ill as of a week or so ago. So I'd like to offer prayers and good vibes to a speedy recovery for Sean. Now let's jump into the video.
Welcome to Revolt Black News Weekly. I'm your host, Ebony K. Williams. Black beyond the borders, from James Baldwin in Paris to Maya Angelou in Ghana, Black Americans have long journeyed for a better life across the world. But when leaving the States, not all experiences abroad yield safe and secure treatment. In 2014, John Stephenson left America for his ecotourism dream in Palora, Ecuador. And as those plans became a reality, his older brother, Ronell, joined by his side. But within 3 years, an American dream for two brothers with booming success in a foreign land turned into an Ecuadorian nightmare. Their revolution to gain justice and freedom is tonight's prime story.
What I learned from this experience is being a Black man, the first question anyone asks me that's Ecuadorian is, where are you from? And I'll say, I'm American. And their response will be like, no, you must be Haitian. There's already a stigma being a Black man traveling.
From Ivy League to incarceration, John, with his brother Ronell at his side, spoke to us about what they say is a wrongful conviction and a 34-year sentence that started with a tainted arrest.
Around 4 or 5 in the morning, our door gets bust in. One set of gentlemen in ski masks with large guns yelling, everybody get on the floor, get on the floor, get on the floor. The prosecutor says, you know why I'm here, you know why I'm here. Tell me why I'm here. I said, I do not understand why you are here on my property. I haven't even seen a warrant. We see 50 or 60 indigenous Shuar that are from the Tawasip community roaming throughout our property, when we later come to find out that they were on the property since 3 in the morning, 2 hours prior to the police arriving to serve the warrant. One of the members of the Tawasip community comes and punches me in the face.
2 dead bodies were buried on the Stephensons' 125-acre property, which they believe members of the indigenous Shuar tribe nefariously planted. But why? The Stephenson brothers not only see their American nationalities as lawful impositions, but their Blackness as overall obstructions.
When we testify on the stand in front of the judges' own words is, what is 2 Black Americans doing here in Ecuador?
I think I've visited at least 6 or 7 indigenous communities. When they had festivals, they would invite us. It was a friendly atmosphere. When we would leave, certain people from the community would come back and say to us, like, hey, people are leery of your presence. What is a young Black man doing here? How does he have the capability to own this type of property?
At the very beginning, the case was handed around to several different prosecutors. At the onset, that's a red flag to me.
Attorney Jason Poblet is president of Global Liberty Alliance, an organization committed to combating violations of fundamental rights throughout the world. He's helped Americans out of Iran and Cuba, and he feels what happened with rapper A$AP Rocky in the summer of 2019 needs to happen with the Stephenson brothers.
During the Trump administration, A$AP Rocky had been arrested in Sweden, and President Trump dispatched the special presidential envoy to Sweden. If we're going to do it for A$AP Rocky in Sweden, how can we not do it for John and Ronell, who are in Ecuador, in our own hemisphere, in a place that's a lot more dangerous?
But time is of the essence. First, because of a backlog court docket.
According to Ecuadorian counsel, we're supposed to be given some guidance from the court, at least a decision by the which level of government will take this over. And hopefully we'll have a favorable decision on the petition to revise the sentence, and then allow us to get in there and to argue all the technical issues that were not argued at trial.
Which they claim, if proved timely, DNA evidence would fully exonerate them. But more imminently of concern are the Stephenson brothers' safety in prison.
Last month, 100 people were killed in Ecuadorian prisons. 10 of those people were reportedly beheaded. They had a cellmate recently that had an AK-47, and the cops don't do anything.
While the prison system in this country is atrocious, the most important thing is that Americans are aware of our situation.
And with that, we bring in our panel. Joining us is Ronell and John Stephenson's father, Robert Stephenson, investigative YouTuber who's extensively reported on the Stephenson brothers' story, Rob Christian. Welcome both of you to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Now, Rob, you've reported a lot on the Stephenson brothers' story, as well as various other stories abroad. So when Black folks actually cross the borders of this country, would you say they're safer before or after they leave?
I'd actually say after we leave. I'd say we're safer living abroad. I actually lived in Medellin, Colombia for about 3 months. In the first 2 weeks, I heard gunshots. I still felt safer than I do in the US. Now, I think it's an issue of learning the culture, learning the language, and blending in. And I think with the Stephenson brothers, I think the issue that they had was an anomaly, an issue of a family or the head of a family or clan who is either attempting a land grab or a money grab, something like that. But I would honestly say I felt safer and I feel safer when I leave the U.S.
Thank you, Rob. Mr. Stephenson, what role, if any, do you think that just being Black Americans had for your sons versus their American identification? How much of their incarceration do you think is because they're Black?
Between 70 and 75% because they're Black. I think the rest is about money. Every high power attorney and even a couple of the ex-judges in Ecuador, they said the only reason your sons are in the predicament, first, they're Black, and two, because they're Americans.
Wow, actually said the words. Now, Mr. Stephenson, you were with your sons in Ecuador about a week prior to their arrest. Now, had you not flown back exactly when you did, your sons believe that you very well could be incarcerated with them in this moment. What is your reaction to that?
To be honest with you, it would have been myself and my wife would have been incarcerated. And, my wife is a FAA official, and that would have been an awful, awful mess if that had happened. And we had gone down there to help my sons in the expansion they were doing on the farm because they had not so long before gotten an agreement with Tabasco Pepper Company to plant 20,000 peppers on the farm.
Wow.
And my sons were recruiting more employees to expand on the pigs that they were going to raise and the chickens that they were raising, along with all the vegetables they were planting.
Yeah. What I hear you saying, Mr. Stephenson, is that your sons weren't just inhabitants of this country. They were doing extremely well financially, very savvy businessmen. Do you think that success had a lot to do with their arrest?
The farm had turned around from when we got it to something that looked like a little city. Okay, they had wide roads through the farm. It was street lights on the farm. John set up a bar or a nightclub on the farm. He literally stole a lot of customers away from businesses in the town. After he got there, he started to do bodybuilding and then into bodybuilding contests and won Mr. Ecuador twice. And then the rumor was going around that he might run for mayor of the town. And the head of the Samorando had been trying to run for mayor for at least 4 or 5 times prior and didn't get through.
How are you feeling right now emotionally, Mr. Stephenson? Are you able to have any communication with your sons? And how are you and your wife doing?
I think after 4 years of going through this ordeal, we have come to be a lot more settled and accommodating with some of the situation as it is. What is so troubling is that there were so many people who really liked John and appreciated John for what he was. And I saw certain key signs that he didn't see. And he said, when I go into town, some little business owner will say to me, John, I haven't seen you in a while. Were you locked up? And he would say, why would I be locked up? I don't do anything. And I would say, an old colloquial term, if a blind man says he's going to pelt you with a stone, he already has a stone in his hand. He can't go looking for a stone. And he would say, Dad, they can't do anything to me because I'm not doing anything. And I said, well, we can see, because if people want you, they find a way to get you.
Robert, let me ask you, in your reporting, any help for these Stephenson brothers from America?
That hits a nerve for me. To be honest with you, that's where the U.S. is really lacking. This should have been a mainstream story 3-4 years ago. And to be honest with you, I'm not seeing where the wheels are actually turning the way that they should be turning right now.
How much of a role do you think the Blackness of the Stephenson brothers plays into that? Do you think they would be dealt with differently if they were white people imprisoned abroad?
I report a lot on Colombia, and I look at case after case after case where, missing person or missing girl, missing guy. And if I look at the pictures, I mean, what conclusion can I draw other than it's the fact that they are Black, that they are not, that the representatives are not moving faster and harder and as they should.
Mr. Stephenson, I want to ask you before we go, for those that do want to bring more mainstream attention to the case of your sons and want to make sure that this is handled with the appropriateness that it should, what can people do? What would be your ask of the diaspora who wants to make sure that your sons get the justice that they do deserve?
More pressure should be brought to bear on the State Department. More pressure should be brought on the embassies. People can try to reach out to their own representative. They can also ask to have bills. America contributes a lot of money in terms of grants to Ecuador. They can hold their funds and say, all we are asking you to do is to apply justice.
Well, listen, Mr. Stephenson, know that we are praying for you and justice for your sons. Rob Christian, brother, we appreciate your time and expertise very, very much.